Welcome to the Writers Weekly podcast, a forum geared toward the writing enthusiast and those who want to make money from their writing. I'm Brian Whidden, managing editor of Writers Weekly, and I'll be your host along with Angela Hoy, the creator of Writers Weekly and president and CEO of BookLocker.com, a full-service book publishing company. Whether you want to learn how to become a professional writer, how to find writing gigs, or even publish your own book, then you come to the right place. We'll be discussing all kinds of topics relating to the writing and publishing industries. Don't forget, you can also click over to WritersWeekly.com. There, you'll find not only thousands of articles about professional writing, you can also find current paying markets and job listings to help you boost your writing career and even your bottom line. But for now, let's get on to this episode of the Writers Weekly podcast. Hello again, and welcome to another episode of the Writers Weekly podcast. I'm your host, Brian Whidden, managing editor of Writers Weekly, and with me, as always, is Angela Hoy, owner-operator of BookLocker.com and CEO, plus she is the originator of Writers Weekly.
I'm pretty. I almost said a bad word.
Yeah, I know.
I'm very upset today.
Well, we're gonna be talking about a subject that has recently hit the public view. It's got a lot of people's panties in a wad, and
Yep.
a pair of those panties belong to Angie. So I think she's gonna take off on this. Take it away.
Oh, good. Give me the mouse. I'm
Yeah.
in control. Yeah. This episode's called AI Abomination. AI companies are buying rare books by the pallet, ripping them apart, scanning them, and then shredding them. I was talking on the phone last night to Professor Clayton Jones, everybody's favorite editor and book marketer, and he made a very good point. He said, imagine museums selling off all their artifacts knowing they will be destroyed. That's exactly what's happening with old, rare, out-of-print books right now. Booksellers are selling them to AI companies knowing they're going to be destroyed.
So one of the big issues when AI first got started was, they were scraping the internet and taking information, including scanning online books to train their AI models. And of course, that caused a lot of consternation with many people. And the issue was addressed, and I guess there have been a few decisions made that's a copyright infringement for AI companies to just go in and start peeling out, people's information in their books and just plugging it into their programs to teach AI.
Right.
So they found themselves a little workaround here. Angie, why don't you explain it?
Yeah. Well, first of all, if any of you have any rare or out-of-print books on your bookshelf, keep them. You may end up owning the very last copy of that book on Earth. That's what's happening. Millions and millions of books are being destroyed. Mm-hmm. Before we get into this shocking story, you need to know that the largest player in this mess is Anthropic, which recently settled the largest copyright infringement lawsuit in history. That just happened a few months ago. But they make so much money taking information created by others that the $1.2 billion settlement was likely well worth it to them. They're making billions, trillions of dollars. Yeah.
So like I explained a minute ago here, so large language models, and that's known as LLMs, that power things like ChatGPT and other similar AI systems, have in the past been primarily trained using information from the internet. Mm-hmm. So digital stuff. Yeah. Articles, human interaction online, mm-hmm. and ebooks. But today, almost all of the information available to mankind has already been scraped up from the internet.
Yeah, they've run out of data.
Yeah.
Yeah.
AI companies are now hungry for more and more data, and they're coming after out of print and rare books, actual physical books. Mm-hmm. Anthropic's lawsuit only dealt with ebooks, and they had obtained pirated copies of these ebooks and fed that text from the ebooks into their AI systems for training. They didn't purchase those books, and their actions were definitely copyright infringement.
Right, and we'll get more into that in a little bit. What we're talking about today is completely different from the ebook situation. which was egregious on its own. It's what they've now been caught doing print books, and they were very secretive about it, but somebody got a hold of some internal documents, and you would not. We're going to give you a couple quotes from those today, and you're not going to believe what Anthropic was doing. So shockwaves are emanating through the author, publishing, and book-loving communities this week. I'm seeing more and more posts. I'm seeing videos on TikTok of what's happening. The machines they're using, people are putting videos of those machines on TikTok. And a stunning and downright nauseating report from 404media.co has revealed that AI companies are ordering old and rare books, thousands, and even up to 1 million different titles at a time in one order. So once they receive those books, they put those through these high-speed machine that cuts the spines off. I saw a video of that today. It's called a book debinder. And those were originally recycling and destruction equipment, and they were designed to slice the glue spines off. So basically it's like an old paper cutter, except it's a big industrial thing, and it slaps down on the spine of the book and just cuts off
all the
spine.
glue and stuff.
Right. Yeah. But then the pages are all separate, and you can scan all those pages. Yeah. And
originally that was used to recycle paper from old books and stuff like that.
Yeah. And they can cut off the glued spines from covers at speeds exceeding 1,200 books per hour. And so back in the day, it was, a publisher printed way too many books. They weren't going to sell, and they would hire these companies to cut up the books so they could never be sold and then recycle the paper. That's basically what those were designed for. Now they're being used for something completely different. And then the AI companies use industrial-grade imaging equipment. They use those to scan the pages and feed them into their systems to train the AI systems.
Yeah. Futurism accurately described this process when they wrote to those buildings, to those building large language models, books are nothing more than fodder to be devoured en masse before being spit out like fish bone.
That's exactly what's happening.
According to ISBNDB.co, while the litigation is still unfolding, Anthropic has already been quietly building an escape hatch, a procurement operation so unusual and so methodical and so deliberately low profile that it reads more like a Cold War logistics program than a Silicon Valley product strategy, and they call it Project Panama, and that's according to ISBNDB.co.
Yeah, we're quoting and we're going to put links to all these sources underneath this episode at WritersWeekly.com/podcast, episode 51. So, listeners, do you agree with what AI companies are doing? Literally, they went from scraping the internet to scraping bookstores and booksellers and book warehouses, and once they scan those books, and they're gone.
Yeah.
Nobody can ever have a copy of that book again. And sadly, there's no shortage of booksellers willing to sell these rare and out-of-print books to AI companies, knowing what's going to happen to them. And it's all about the Benjamins, right?
Do we know what they're doing with the pages once they get done scanning these? I mean, are they burning them, shredding them?
They're either shredding them or pulping them.
Pulping them?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And one of those companies that is willingly selling to the AI companies, again, pallets and pallets of books, is ISBNDB.co. Oh, or is it com?
Com. Well, we're going to have to clarify that after.
Well, you know what? We'll. You know what? You talk for a bit and I'll look it up. So.
Okay.
That's my fault.
And ISBNDB stands for ISBN Database. That company claims to have the world's largest book database, and it's now offering bulk buying options to AI companies of up to 1 million titles per order, including, quote, older, rare, and specialist volumes, unquote. According to that company, and we'll include a link under this episode at WritersWeekly.com, podcast, /podcast, and this is episode 51. Quote, in 2025, a federal judge, William Alsou, handed down one of the most consequential copyright rulings in AI history. Anthropic, they also have created Claude AI.
Yeah.
Had purchased and physically destroyed over 2 million books as part of a strategy to acquire AI training data. That judge said that they were not violating copyright law. Anthropic's large-scale version of the practice was performed under an internal effort known as, again, Project Panama.
We're going to mention that a few times today. Okay, isbndb.co redirects to .com, so either one will work.
Okay.
I looked it up. Yeah. Okay, I turned my phone off again. Now, tomshardware.com, which has nothing to do with it's not a hardware store.
Okay.
They said ISBNDB, an online database that reportedly has over 111 million cataloged books, has been a long favorite platform for booksellers, libraries, and distributors to sell books. With the explosion of the AI industry, ISBNDB has pivoted its business to offer specialized services to bulk purchase books. They purchase them and then they sell them to the AI companies. Mm-hmm. So they're like an intermediary between somebody who's selling books and then they get all these big orders together for the AI companies. Yeah. Which is interesting because we're quoting their website today, and they don't seem to look at it very favorably in their writing of what the practice, but they're making a lot of money from it. Yeah.
One small bookseller who was interviewed, he said that he went from selling from around 20 books a week to several hundred. Again, that's each week.
Yeah. And I read a quote from him, and he's not happy about the practice, but, he needs the money.
But he needs the money.
Right,
so he'll do it. Yeah.
So we disagree with the federal judge who made that ruling. I mean, it's ridiculous. Now, we're going to quote the doctrine that he was going by in just a minute. But here is the typical language you see on the copyright page of a book, and I'm going to emphasize some of these words. All rights reserved. No part of this publication may be reproduced, stored in a retrieval system. Sounds like AI, doesn't it? Mm-hmm. Or transmitted in any form or by any means, electronic, mechanical, recording, or otherwise, without the prior written permission of the author.
Okay, however, this judge ruled that it was fair use under the first sale doctrine, and that's Section 109 of the Copyright Act. Mm-hmm. The first sale doctrine written way back in 1908.
1908.
Before we had computers, before we had AI, before we had any of this stuff, holds that once a copyright holder has authorized the initial sale of a physical copy, their control over that specific object ends. So if you buy a book, then you own the book, you can read it, sell it, lend it, etc., and the author has no further claim on what you do with that physical item.
Right, and I agree with that. But AI companies are doing something, completely different. Yeah. However, that doctrine is 118 years old. Yes, I pulled out my spreadsheet and figured that out. It long predates ebooks. It predates scanning equipment. It even predates the internet, by 100 years.
Copy machines.
Right, yeah. Exactly, yeah. The doctrine does not state that the owner can make new copies of the book, including electronic copies. And in scanning a book, whether you keep the text together or you disseminate it in a variety of ways through an AI system, you're still putting copies out there for the masses. Yeah. And rewriting a copyrighted work is still a violation of that copyright. Mm-hmm. And when AI spreads the book's information across the globe, even changing the meaning of the text, that's still copying that copyrighted work.
Yeah.
I believe that soon that doctrine in copyright law will be updated to address today's technology. Mm-hmm. And at the end of this episode, we're going to share with our listeners how they can help make that happen, and it's very easy.
Well, this is interesting. AI companies are specifically looking for books published prior to 2022, and of course, books that are far older than that.
It's interesting.
Their reasoning is that books published prior to 2022 weren't written using AI. Mm-hmm. It's important to know that one problem AI has now is that it's regurgitating its own information. We've talked about this before. It's basically copies of copies of copies.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And it's getting tainted by incorrect information. The AI systems can't keep track of what's already out there, and they can no longer keep track of what's true and what's fake.
Right.
So did you know that some authors are purposely putting out garbage books, specifically intent on filling the AI systems with gobbledygook, and there's no law against that?
If I'd read that authors were doing that, but they hadn't mentioned AI, I would have went, that's just awful. But yeah, there are authors that are purposely trying to fool the AI systems to get back at them for taking away from our livelihood. Yeah. Along those lines, again, according to ISBNDB.com or .co, they both work. Their article includes this text. This is interesting. A $1.5 billion lesson in data hygiene. That's a great term, data hygiene. Yeah. For the better part of a decade, I'm quoting again, the AI industry operated under an open secret. Training data sets were built from content nobody had paid for. This is what got Anthropic into trouble. LibGen, Books3, ZLibrary, and the Pile were the pipelines through which hundreds of billions of words flowed into the weights of the world's most powerful language models. Now, I knew about LibGen, and I've heard of a couple of the other ones, but I've actually looked at LibGen when the Anthropic lawsuit first came out. LibGen is Library Genesis. Mm-hmm. There is no known official corporate owner, legal entity, or known individual proprietor. Why?
Yeah, it's
because
they're able to hide it that well.
Well, yeah, but they're running a completely illegal operation.
Yeah.
It operates as an anonymous, decentralized, quote, shadow library founded around 2008 by hidden contributors who many people suspect they're located in Russia. And it is fed through community donations and mirror networks. Brian, you know what a community donation is?
Well, that sounds like dark money to me.
All right. The ebook pirating companies allow people who've purchased ebooks to upload those ebooks to their systems so that other people can download the illegal pirated copies of those ebooks for free. Yeah. They run a completely illegal operation. And there's copyright laws in pretty much every country. Yeah.
Sounds a lot like what was going on with Pirate Bay.
Oh, right.
If you owned a copy of of music or a video game or anything, you could upload it using torrent software to Pirate Bay, and then anybody who wanted could just download it. Yeah, the way it was.
Right. Anthropic and other AI companies began to download massive numbers of illegal copies of those books to train their systems, and then they ran out. Anthropic's recent $1.2 billion lawsuit was just the beginning, and more lawsuits have already been filed against other AI companies for doing the same thing.
Now, how many illegal copies of ebooks did Anthropic obtain?
Everybody guessed that before Brian gives you the answer.
Reports state that there are over 7 million.
Yep, downloaded 7 million illegal copies of ebooks. And if you're listening to this and you're an author, your book may have been involved in that as well. Yeah.
Anthropic then partnered with used book wholesalers, and they started buying print books by the pallet. So millions of books across all genres, and they've got their spines cut, they're torn apart, they're scanned, and then they're destroyed.
And all that's left is pulp.
That's it.
Yep.
And this is reminding lots of folks about George Orwell's book 1984, where the government burned books and then changed historical records to control the official narrative. In the end, only the revised text remained, and that's what could be happening now. You've got these AI companies; they're the ones that control what the output is on their AI if they want to.
Right.
So they can take any inconvenient little tidbits of history and simply tell the AI, don't put that out there and say this instead.
This gentleman contacted me a few months ago. He wrote an article for us, not on this topic, and he was using AI just to test the system, and he said it was misquoting the Bible. Yeah. I wonder how many Bibles have been chopped up and
who knows
tossed.
I know that China, published its own version of the Bible. Basically singing the praises of the Chinese government.
Right, yeah.
And so I can see AI companies doing the same thing.
Oh, absolutely.
If you don't like what the Bible says, you just have it say something else now when people search for it.
Right. Back to tomshardware.com. They said AI companies seemingly have a new target in their sights, humanity's literary history. That's what we were just talking about. They're going to change everything. Yeah. So you mentioned before other lawsuits. Tom's Hardware also wrote, a coalition of publishers recently filed a lawsuit against Google. We knew about that one. Accusing the tech giant of allegedly and illegally using millions of copyrighted books to develop its Gemini AI models. Now, Google got sued several years ago for the same thing. they were scanning books, but they were borrowing books from libraries and scanning them, and they were buying books and scanning them, and a judge ruled that was fair use.
Yeah.
So anyway, Google got caught, allegedly, downloading illegal copies of ebooks and doing the same thing that Anthropic did. Meta, our least favorite company in the world, the owner of Facebook and Instagram, has also previously been sued in U.S. courts for downloading millions of pirated books. They're all in this big race, to be the first person to have every bit of information ever created in the history of mankind in their system. And
I saw an article, I think, just a couple of days ago that Mark Zuckerberg is whining and crying because Anthropic and this other company's got far more AI than he does, and he thinks that they ought to be forced to just
share,
release all of their proprietary stuff so that he can have some too. Yeah,
we will put a link to that article under this episode. Yeah,
it's like the kid in the sandbox that's all pissed off that the other kid's got the Tonka truck and he wants it now. It's just it's crazy. So David Sachs, who is a venture capitalist, and he's the chair of the President's Council of Advisors on Science and Technology. There's a mouthful.
That's a big title. Yeah.
Wrote in a post on X that Anthropic maintains that it is entitled to train for free on all the world's output, even if the author objects. But if a competitor trains on Anthropic's output after paying for it, that's IP theft. The hypocrisy is breathtaking.
Yeah, they're saying we can take everything from normal folks like you and me and use it for our systems and make a bunch of money. But if anybody uses our system to do the same thing, that's not fair. Yeah, that's a lot of hypocrisy there. Yeah. Remember, and we've covered Meta a lot, and we'll put a link to some of those articles under this episode. Meta, putting scammers over their own users, earning billions and billions of dollars from scammers, feeding content to children that led to some children's suicides. They recently lost a huge lawsuit, and they actually last week they lost the appeal on that, and I can't remember how much money they owe that one person. One girl.
It was like an $8 million, wasn't it?
$3 million.
$3 million?
It was them and YouTube and two other companies, two other social media companies had already settled with her.
She was suing based on the fact that they had made their algorithms addictive.
Right.
Yeah.
And it dealt with body image and things like that. But they Meta, apparently, according to the internal documents obtained by Reuters, knew that their system was feeding children these harmful things. And they first stopped it, but then they realized their profits were diving, so they started it back up again. Yeah. And now there are hundreds of lawsuits pending against them for the same thing. So Meta, in their internal documents, they only banked on getting sued in the United States.
Yeah.
They actually, in the documents, they say, well, it'd be worth it to be fined this much money because we made this much money, right?
Yeah. Yeah, they did the math.
Well, what they didn't think was, what wasn't in the numbers was, gee, what if we get sued in other countries? Yeah. And that's happening too, right?
There's a bunch of other companies or countries suing them.
Well, maybe Anthropic made the same assumption. Copyright laws vary from one country to another. I mean, in the European Union, their Digital Single Market Directive allows rights holders to opt out of text and data mining. Why isn't the United States there yet?
Yeah.
How many books copyrighted in UK countries has Anthropic and other AI companies used to train their systems? I imagine a lot.
Wonder if there's any way to find out. If they're just buying up pallets of books and chopping them all up.
And I'm sure a lot of those books were printed, published in other countries, and subject to other countries' copyright laws. So now Anthropic and all the other AI companies have to worry about what Meta's worrying about. We've had this one. Here's one lawsuit. Here's another one. And it's not just going to be individuals. It's probably going to be governments suing as well.
So according to an Australian website, news.com.au, Australian book dealers are urging Anthony Albanese to protect local titles from the practice under the Prime Minister's newly announced Office for AI. U.S. copyright law and its definition of fair use is different from that in Australia.
So now Australia's coming after them,
So you've already got these other countries starting to maneuver into place to fight this.
Right.
In the article on news.com.au, They quote Dawn Albinger,
Yeah, I think so.
who is the owner of Queensland's largest secondhand bookstore, Archives Fine Books. And she said, I'm quoting, when content is extracted from books to train AI models, it raises very significant ethical and legal concerns. It also strips away the structure, context, and meaning intended by the author, undermining the integrity of the creative work and reducing the viability of a healthy book industry.
Nobody could have said it better.
Yeah.
Yep. Now, the Australian Booksellers Association chief executive, Susanna Bowen, she said almost the exact same thing in an article I read. And according to news.com.au, rare booksellers across Europe are seeing a similar surge in purchase requests, which they suspect are coming from AI labs in America. They know where they're coming from.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
AI companies clearly know that they're doing something wrong because they're making all of these purchases on the down low.
Yep.
They're not, why not just tell everybody, yep, this is what we're doing.
Yeah,
yep,
right.
Buying millions and millions of books, going to scan them and chop them up. Yep.
Wait till y'all hear what they actually said. Oh my
For
gosh.
example, Dutch news site BNR reported that Peter de Vries, an antiquarian bookseller in Haarlem, I'm sorry, the pronunciation's different in the Netherlands.
Yeah.
Which is so Haarlem.
It might be Harlem. I don't know.
Anyway. Based in the Netherlands, recently received an email from a person calling herself Natalie from Singapore. And she wrote that her company was starting a new project focused on collecting books in multiple languages, currently mainly in English.
Uh-huh. Natalie.
Natalie. Yeah.
How many people in Singapore are named Natalie?
I'm sure it's plenty. I to be honest, I don't know what a Singaporean name normally sounds like.
Also, it's an interesting spelling of Natalie.
Yeah.
Anyway, the email said, and I quote, "We have compiled a very extensive list of editions that we are currently trying to acquire, and we plan to place a fairly large order." Now, the email attachment contained a list of 3,000 English language titles. They were organized by ISBN and ranged from books on fairy tales, folklore, technical manuals, and even science text. So some of this might just be
ISBN number. You know, they don't even care what the subject matter is.
They're just plucking up as much as they can.
Yeah.
But it looks like it's not just books. They're getting scientific papers. They're getting as much as they possibly can. And again, it's all going in the trash.
Yeah.
Now, booksellers, they're catching on. They know these are coming from AI companies, but they're still doing it. I don't know how. Well, first of all, there's the financial aspect.
Yeah.
But eventually they're going to run out of books to sell.
Well, true.
Yeah.
True. The NL Times reports that booksellers in the Netherlands, Switzerland, Spain, and Germany have received nearly identical requests. So this person's basically copying and pasting and asking everybody for their books. If the AI companies think everything is above board, why are they being so secretive?
Right.
And why have they kept this practice so hush-hush? And why are they using third parties to purchase pallets of the books to the tune of millions
and millions
just
of
going
books
out and buying them themselves?
Yeah. Now, this is going to shock all of you like it shocked me. I'm still nauseated about it. Listen to this. Okay. According to the Dallas Express, an internal planning document obtained from Anthropic stated that, and I quote, "Project Panama is our effort to destructively scan all the books in the world."
You should probably say that again. This is from Anthropic's own
internal
documents.
Project Panama is our effort to destructively scan all the books in the world. Destructively scan. That means scan and junk. Yeah, right. The same document added, and I quote, "We use a soft code name for it because we don't want it to be known that we are working on this. This document is visible to all Anthropic employees, but you should avoid talking about it in public areas, and the fact that we are working on this should not be shared with anyone outside Anthropic."
Well, too late now.
Well, then they got sued and all this stuff that came to light, so yeah.
Yahoo.com posted a great article, and we'll post a link to that and all of the other resources on WritersWeekly.com/podcast. And this is, again, episode 51. And they wrote that, quote, a used bookseller gets an order for 400 volumes, history, botany, regional law, German language, economics. The subjects share nothing in common except for one detail. Every title has an ISBN.
There it is again.
That's the fingerprint. AI companies or their intermediaries, shielded by non-disclosure agreements, also called NDAs, are specifically buying physical books from secondhand markets, slicing off their spines for high-speed scanning, and then pulping the originals.
Yeah, and then they go on to say, the reason is brutally simple. The internet is so saturated with AI-generated text that pre-2022 printed books represent the last large, uncontaminated reservoir of human-authored knowledge, a dynamic that reflects the same appetite for data-driving ventures like the Stargate project. What's that?
Okay, so Project Stargate. That's a $500 billion artificial intelligence infrastructure joint venture announced in 2025. It's a private sector partnership backed by OpenAI, SoftBank, Oracle, and MGX. Anthropic calls its AI model Claude.
Yeah.
In courtroom documents obtained by the Washington Post, Anthropic's Project Panama used contractor Datamation to scan books for Claude's training data. The Washington Post also talked about these huge orders being generated. They wrote that booksellers know it's an AI buyer because of each order's abnormal volume, subject agnostic orders, and total indifference to pricing.
Subject agnostic, I like that.
Yeah,
they don't care what they're ordering. They're just getting whatever they can.
They're not ordering, 10,000 copies of a specific topic,
right?
And different books covering one thing. It's just
ordering
whatever.
everything they can get their hands on. Yeah. So you said total indifference to pricing. Mm-hmm. I read in other places online as well in articles. AI companies aren't negotiating prices. I mean, what's the point? Talk them down $2 per book. It's just
that's a telltale.
They're plucking up the world's remaining rare and out of print books before their competitors can. They don't have time to negotiate.
Yeah,
they want that text before anybody else can get it.
Everyone's asking. Wow.
Yep. And once all those books have been ripped apart, scanned, and pulped, they're gone forever. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
All right, so let's change gears for a minute here.
Okay.
So, regarding Anthropic's recently settled $1.5 billion lawsuit.
I want to say it was 1.2, but
was it 1.2?
It was a lot of money.
Okay.
Yeah,
so
we're close.
Over $1 billion lawsuit
right.
with publishers and authors. An author contacted us this week saying that 3 of his books were stolen and illegally used by Anthropic. He's expecting a $9,000 payout. And that was a class action suit that allowed victims to opt out. Now, dozens of authors did opt out, with prominent groups filing separate copyright infringement lawsuits in the U.S. District Court for the Northern District of California. And this was led by authors such as Dave Eggers and Angie Cruz and John Carriol.
Thank you for saying all the hard names.
Mm-hmm.
You're much better than I am at it. I looked it up. It is $1.5 billion, not $1.2 billion. I had the 5 turned upside down in my head and turned it into a 2. So, yeah.
Okay. So $1.5 billion, that's the number we're going to settle on today.
Right. We're going to settle on that settlement number. Yeah. Okay. As of this past May, 26 authors had joined that separate lawsuit. They had opted out of the class action and decided to file their own lawsuit. They're asking for a jury trial to avoid getting bottom dollar settlements through the class action lawsuit, because typically class action lawsuits, people get almost nothing. Now, the fact that Anthropic's victims are getting $3,000 per book is astronomical.
Yeah.
I've talked about this before. I was part of some class action lawsuit, and I got a check for 25 cents, which was less than the cost of the stamp that it was mailed with. I can tell you, I've never joined a class action lawsuit since then. So again, it's estimated that each author of the Anthropic settlement is going to get around $3,000 for each copy of their ebook that was illegally downloaded, and each book that was illegally downloaded and used to train their system. There's a database online showing which books were stolen by Anthropic. We'll put a link to that under this episode, WritersWeekly.com/podcast, episode 51. I checked, and months ago when they first put that up, I checked. I didn't find any of my books. Yeah. Darn it. I also looked for Book Locker books, our authors. Book Locker books, didn't find any of those either. But then that guy contacted us this week, and there were 3 of his books that were taken. Not one of our authors. If you find, we'll put a link to that database underneath this episode. If you find any of your books in there, and if you didn't specifically opt out of that lawsuit before February 9th, 2026, that was the deadline, you can't opt out now. You were automatically included in the class. However, you also had to file a claim. So if you find your book in there today and you never opted out and you didn't file a claim, it's too late. You would have needed to file that claim by March 30th, 2026. And at Writers Weekly, we announced to our readers about this lawsuit months and months ago.
Yeah.
So, got to read the website. It's also been all over the news. I would be surprised if any authors listening to this were not aware of that lawsuit months ago. Yeah. When I did the research, had any of my books been in that database, I would have opted out the class action suit because that 25-cent stamp. That 25-cent check I got. Yeah. I would have hired my own lawyer. And for those who did opt out of the class action, that may end up costing Anthropic far more.
Yeah. I wonder what their threshold is that they've calculated that they can afford to pay out in lawsuits and fines and whatnot to make still make this profitable.
Well, again, I don't think they counted on being sued in other countries, and that's right around the corner.
Okay, for those who did opt out, the civil penalties against Anthropic could and likely will include statutory damages, and these are standard fines set by a judge from $750 to $30,000 for each work used without permission. Another penalty could be willful damages, and this is when Anthropic did.
Yeah.
So up to $150,000 per work if the court finds the person or company broke the law on purpose. They could also be charged court costs, payment for the owner's lawyer fees, and the court expenses.
It's going to be expensive.
Yeah.
Now, think about that. Instead of a measly $3,000 per work, the authors in the separate case could get up to $180,000 per infringed work plus attorney's fees.
I could deal with that.
Yeah, right. Sorry, my book wasn't on there.
I could use an extra $180,000 in my bank account. Okay, so let's talk about what could happen to Anthropic and other AI companies if the government pursues criminal charges. So they could be fined up to $250,000 per offense for serious or commercial piracy, and imprisonment, which I don't think is going to happen, but up to 5 years in prison for first-time felony offenders and up to 10 years for repeat offenders.
Well, I definitely think the commercial piracy is exactly what they did. Yeah.
The problem is when it comes to a company doing that, it's difficult to, when it comes to criminal stuff, digging down and singling out individual people to say, okay, you're the one that's going to bear the burden for this entire company's operation,
right?
And to go to prison for that, it's kind of tough.
I really wish they could figure out which personnel were responsible and put some people from Anthropic and other AI companies into pokey. Yeah, because these were egregious acts, intentional egregious acts. I'm pretty certain Anthropic's going to settle with this new group of authors as well, but. Again, each author's going to end up making a lot more money than $3,000. Yeah. Okay, so what can authors and book lovers do about this situation besides keeping old and rare books that they already have on hand? Yeah, right. I'm not giving up any of my old books. Remember when we lived in Florida? That awesome used bookstore. I can't remember the name of it. But well, don't say it out loud because AI might be listening. But right there in St. Pete, we had that little old, actually it wasn't very little. It was pretty big. It was a big used bookstore. All kind of used books. Oh, it was just a gold mine. We'd go in there and spend hours. And we'd take the kids and everything. Just browsing through. If we still live there, hey, we're going to be there next month. We are going to be there next month. We should go pluck up some old used books, out of print books, and save them for the grandkids someday. Can do that. Yeah. One thing you can do is lobby the government to update existing copyright law and bring it in line with current technology. And this isn't difficult. No, it's not difficult at all. We'll provide another link under this episode at writersweekly.com/podcast, episode 51, where you can find your representative's contact information simply by typing in your zip code.
You have to contact the United States Congress, specifically your local U.S. representative and U.S. senators, as they hold the constitutional power to write and pass legislation.
Yeah, it's very important for the entire literary community right now, today, to come together with us and everybody else lobbying against AI companies and stop them from taking advantage of a law that was created more than a century before the internet, ebook, and digital processes existed.
Yeah,
this has to be changed right now.
It doesn't make sense that we'd still be operating under something that just it doesn't even touch on all the possibilities that are available now.
It's not only is it makes me so mad, but it hurts my heart.
Yeah,
to think of all these books just gone forever. Yeah, they're never coming back.
Yeah. And we'll certainly keep you updated on the new and increasing numbers of lawsuits being filed against AI companies for copyright infringement.
Yeah, we'll be posting those on keeping everybody up to date on WritersWeekly.com.
Okay.
Yeah. And
well, I mean, it's again, it's just all you can do is you need to get the laws up to date on this kind of thing. Because technology is just changing so fast at such a rate that the old laws just don't apply anymore.
I honestly can't believe that old part of the copyright law still existed from 1908. They did do a slight update in 1972 when they were updating the length of time that works could remain in copyright before they went into the public domain.
Yeah,
but that part stayed.
Yeah,
and it just blows my mind.
It's and I can't help but wonder what do the AI companies want to do with all of this knowledge and information? I mean, what is it you're gonna?
They want to have the biggest, most robust AI systems, so everybody will use those instead of others. I'm still trying to figure out how they're making money. I mean, I'm like,
at what point do you actually make money? Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I don't know.
I was on a local group last night and I posted, this is how some people are so dismissive of everything that's happening in the world. They're about to build an AI center here in Georgia, not near us, but it's a couple 100 miles away. And I posted to the local group, get the word out about this so more people know about it so people can fight against it with their city council members and stuff. And one woman wrote and said, well, that's not even our town. And I said, if everybody in Georgia doesn't come out to help the little towns that are having these AI data centers put in, it could be us next.
Yeah.
We all need to come out and be vocal about this.
Well, I'm not completely against AI data centers, but it needs to be balanced. And if you're going to build one, there needs to be contributions to the community. You need to make sure you're not using too much electricity and water and all that kind of stuff. It needs to be a benefit, not a drain.
Well, I think they need to be out in the middle of nowhere because
I would prefer they be out in the middle of nowhere.
People are reporting that their cows stop calving.
Yeah.
The bees disappear. There's a lot of wildlife problems with the data centers. They make this constant sound that agitates animals and humans. And probably the most bizarre thing is that these data centers are moving in and people's electricity and water bills are going up. Towns.
That's the kind of stuff that towns need to stand up and say, okay, if you're going to build this here, here's what's going to happen. You're going to contribute X amount to the overall grid and the power that's generated. You're going to be paying, for this percentage of everything.
Yeah.
Seeing as you're going to make all this money off this data center, you need to give back.
In some of these
communities. And
communities,
everybody else's electricity should not go up.
Yeah, to get the AI data center in there. And again, residents aren't typically informed of this.
Yeah.
And they say, well, okay, we won't make you pay for electricity and water for 5 years because you're going to bring so much revenue into the area. They don't inform the residents that, guess who's going to be paying that? People seeing their electric and water bills
a big problem.
Triple and quadruple because and they had no idea that they were going to be responsible for paying for another company.
That stuff all needs to be out in the open, and they need to get public feedback before they put a single brick down to build these places.
Right.
And there needs to be compensation to the communities and make sure there's not going to be any kind of impact. Exactly. And I think it can be done.
why don't they have to pay to create their own electric system?
I think they're thinking in the
ponds.
old model of, like, let's say you want an Amazon distribution center. So, hey, we're not gonna make you pay property taxes for the first 10 years. We're not gonna, we're gonna give you a discount on your electric or whatever, because they know that 10,000 of their citizens can now get a job.
Right.
In there. And, you're going to be bringing, attracting more businesses into your area, which can bring more revenue in for this, because they know, the cities or towns or counties, they know full well they're going to make money off of this Amazon center.
Well,
so they give them a bunch of breaks, but the data centers are a little different animal.
I think that they're counting on like sales tax revenue for whatever the data center creates in revenue, so taxable revenue. From what I've researched, those data centers run on a shoestring of humans.
Yeah,
it's all automated. There aren't 1,000 jobs coming into the town.
They're not producing something that sells and then generates tax. It holds data. That's what it does. So you have to change the model to fit what you're bringing into your community. Right. And it doesn't work like, a manufacturing plant. It's different. So you got to figure out how it's going to balance all out. But
it's like,
anyway,
if you've got a storefront in, Trenton, Georgia, and you're selling things, you're charging sales tax and remitting that to the city. It also goes to the state and the county. But if the building running your electricity for your store, creating the electricity for your store, or the, what do you call the storage ponds for water?
Retention ponds.
Retention pond running your store. I know this doesn't make any sense because it's just a store, but just bear with me. So let's say you're on the edge of Trenton and the electric building and the retention pond are just over the border to the next town. That location is not creating revenue. So that county's not getting any sales tax out of that.
Well, again, unless there is some agreement that, maybe some of that electricity is going to be pumped into the grid that feeds Trenton, whatever,
Could be property taxes they're collecting. I don't know.
There's a number of ways to do it.
But again, charging other people for a private companies' water and electricity is just mind-boggling to me. Yeah.
Well, I mean, we don't like the way AI is being used in a lot of ways, but whether we like it or not, AI is here. It's here to stay. It's not going away. And I think the only way that we control this from getting out of hand is more and more people need to educate themselves and be aware and be involved in getting their voices heard of, especially in your immediate area, your local area, about what you will and won't accept.
Right. What's acceptable and what's not.
These AI centers and stuff. Yeah.
Plucking up rare and old books and destroying them. Completely unacceptable to everybody in the publishing and reading and writing industry. Yeah.
Hey, what do you think about AI? Why don't you click the comment button and let us know down at the top and the bottom of this page on WritersWeekly.com/podcast, episode 51.
I always stutter when I say that, and you always say it perfectly.
It's because I'm a pro.
From now on, when I need to say it, I'm just going to point at you.
I'm a professional.
You say it. Then people don't have to...
That's right. And if you want somebody in your corner to fight against the big AI companies from chopping up your book, come over to booklocker.com and publish your book with us. We've been in business 27 years, family-owned and operated company. We've got A+ rating on Better Business Bureau and 5-star ratings in a lot of other places.
Yeah,
so come to us. We'll treat you right. And Angie, what do we got upcoming in the next few episodes?
Next week, we're going to have Clayton Jones on.
No, we're not.
Oh, that's right. That's the week after.
Yeah,
next week, we are with Troy and Stacy at Pros and Pros with Pros.
Pros talking pros.
That's it. That's right. They had me on their podcast a few months ago, and they are a riot.
And we're going to be talking a little bit more about scammers.
Yeah.
What we wanted in the next episode was, because you all know our take on scammers and you all know our knowledge of scammers, but we wanted to bring in two other publishing professionals that will kind of give us their point of view on what they're seeing as far as scammers.
Right.
So I think it's going to be a really interesting episode.
And they're both hilarious.
That's right.
Yeah.
And then what do you got coming up after that?
After that is 10 things authors unknowingly do that break the law.
Ooh.
Yeah.
That sounds good.
Yeah, that's the title, and I'm already up to 15, so I might have to change the title, do some consolidation, but some juicy stuff in there, and that'll be a funny one. So,
all right, y'all. So keep listening. We got good stuff for you coming up, and we'll see you again next time on the Writers Weekly podcast.
Everybody have a great weekend.
Bye.